Here is something you didn't know about your favorite Marvel superheroes. What if I told you that in 1996, the world's most powerful movie empire was actually a failing business worth less than a single apartment in Manhattan? Most people think Marvel has always been a winner, but the truth is, they were so broke they had to sell their children just to pay the electric bill. This is the story of how a bankrupt comic book company made the ultimate all-in gamble and turned a $500 million debt into a $30 billion kingdom. Marvel, the home of Spider-Man and the Avengers, officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 1996. The comic book bubble had burst, sales were down 70%, and the company was bleeding cash. They were so desperate, they started a fire sale of their movie rights. They sold Spider-Man to Sony and the X-Men to Fox for what now looks like pocket change. At that moment, Marvel was a dying underdog that everyone had written off. By the early 2000s, Marvel saw other studios making billions off their characters, while they only got a tiny fraction of the profit. They realized they couldn't just be a licensing company. They had to be a movie studio. But there was one problem: they had no money. So in 2005, Marvel made the biggest gamble in history. They took out a $525 million loan. But here's the kicker: the collateral for the loan was the rights to their remaining characters. If their next movies failed, Marvel wouldn't just be broke. They would lose the rights to the Avengers, Nick Fury, and Black Panther forever. They bet their entire future on a B-list character that most of the general public didn't even care about: Iron Man. Nobody wanted to play Iron Man. The character was considered second-tier compared to Batman or Spider-Man, but Marvel had a secret weapon: a vision for a connected universe. They didn't just make a movie, they built a system. They cast Robert Downey Jr., a massive risk at the time, and focused on character over special effects. When Iron Man hit theaters in 2008, it didn't just succeed, it exploded. It made $585 million. Suddenly, the leftover characters Marvel had kept were the hottest properties in Hollywood. They had turned a desperate loan into the foundation of a gold mine. This incredible turnaround caught the eye of the biggest player in the game: Disney. In 2009, Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion. People at the time thought Disney was crazy. $4 billion for a comic book company? But Disney saw what Marvel had built: a library of characters that could fuel movies, merchandise, and theme parks for decades. Today, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has generated over $30 billion at the box office. That $4 billion investment? It might be the smartest purchase in business history. So, what can we learn from the Marvel story? First, even when you're at rock bottom, your assets still have value. Second, sometimes you have to take a calculated risk to change your life. Marvel didn't play it safe, they bet on themselves. Whether you're managing a household budget or a movie studio, the principle is the same. Build a system, protect your core assets, and never count yourself out. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the business of Marvel, hit that subscribe button for the savvy savers. We break down the world's biggest success stories so you can apply those lessons to your own pocketbook. I'm Captain Savvy, and I'll see you in the next one.